I am doing fine. Thank you. Firstly, thank you so much for bringing me onto this platform. I really appreciate, and I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Yeah,
Hope you're doing fine, and hope everyone's fine out there at your place.
yes, absolutely. Thank you. So really welcome to What Lights Your Fire. So this is a huge passion project of mine, which, as you know, for viewers, Harish and I, we learned coaching together, right? We learned the fundamentals, and Harish has this just amazing presence about him. So I wanted to have you on the show, Harish, so we could talk about what lights your fire and how you're making a difference within your community and within your space. So let's tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, Dee. You're very kind. Um, about myself, I have been, a passionate person when it comes to pursuing knowledge for a very long period of time. But I think the past years, if I were to look at it, the outlook has changed. It's just not about knowledge. It's about helping people, understanding what they want, and how best can I bring what they truly want about themselves.
Right.
So through that, my journey evolved, and my outlook of life also evolved. But other than that, I have I'm from India, so and I'm from a place called Hyderabad in India. It's if people were to ask what Hyderabad is famous for, it's famous for its old Nizami culture or food. So grew up around that rich culture for a good period of time.
Yeah.
Uh, then had my entire life open up for me in this lovely city. I did my master's in business administration almost over a decade ago, and then started my career as an HR business partner, and have been doing that ever since for the past 12 years approximately. And yeah, love my job to a very good extent.
Yeah.
It does have its ups and downs, but still love what I
Right.
do to a good extent. And as a part of that job, though, initially I thought that I just wanted to build my skill set, so I thought that maybe coaching would be the right thing.
Mhm.
But then when I got onto this journey, I think it opened up a new dimension for me. I then realized that it's just no longer about me, and it's about the universe around me. So I really feel blessed to have gone through that program,
Yeah.
and yeah, I think that's helping me to firstly be a better version of myself, and
Right.
hopefully bring out the best version of others.
I love that. Yeah. And I love how you say like a new dimension. Because I feel like, before COVID, like there's life before COVID and life after COVID, right? So before COVID, there was one way to work. There wasn't a lot of emotions brought into the workplace. It wasn't really about the soft skills, it was more about the hard skills. So how had that sort of transition been for you going from, because since you're a senior business HR partner, so going from, um, you know, that one mindset to another mindset, like how was that transition for you personally?
I'll talk it in two dimensions. One from me being a person, and also me being a professional, and coaching my or consulting with my organizations, whichever that I have been. Personally, I think it was a challenge. It was not easy. Uh, I thought it would be, just sitting in front of the screen, all you had to do is connect with people or talk. But um, I realized that, empathy as a skill was such an important aspect of what my role is.
Oh yeah.
We, until then, I understood empathy. It's only during COVID is when I started practicing empathy. So it was two different things.
Yeah.
Um, so that was one of the biggest learnings, and and about that piece of learning is what we also started sharing with our clients or stakeholders,
Hmm.
different ways we call them. But we started expressing empathy to everybody around us.
Yeah.
We told them it's okay. I think one thing that this that period taught us was The most important lesson that all of us learned, or especially me, that it's okay to be kind to yourself. It's okay to forgive yourself even when you're not right or not wrong, irrespective of the
Right.
situation. You can afford to forgive yourself. You can be kind to yourself.
Right.
The world is actually going through a tough time. All you can do is just be there. I think that's enough.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yes, absolutely. I mean, because all we can control is ourselves and how we view the world and how, really what our choices. How do we want to view the world? Do we want to view the world from a positive perspective or a negative perspective? And I feel like the negative hopefully is being left, before 2020, and now 2023 is a fresh time to start moving forward and looking at those positives, looking at that new dimension of really choosing who it is that you want to be. Do you want to be someone who is lifting others? Do you believe in that, lifting others to lift yourself up, or are you still in that old mindset? So I think that's excellent that you're pretty transparent with your clients about that as well, and about your journey, I'm sure, as well.
Thank you. I just wanted to add to that, now that I believe we are out of COVID, though we still get to hear a lot of news that, that I do not know how many waves, how many booster shots that we have taken, and every time we
Yeah.
get to hear something new. Also, you're coming out of it, you're it's like, moving from one crisis to another. You have come out of the COVID crisis, now we are heading into the economic crisis. The past few years is just feeling like, it's from the frying pan to the fire. But,
Yeah.
you know, I think what COVID also taught us was, resilience. Along with empathy, it also taught us resilience,
Yeah.
wherein, this too shall pass. I think maybe our parents and our grandparents have seen a lot more during their generation, and they used to talk about it. I
Yeah.
think maybe we were privileged not to see a series of tough times, but I think now we have got to see it. I think we are
Yeah.
also becoming more resilient. The, there are always the negative and positive sides to it. I think if you were to focus on the positive sides, I think we are able to, move forward and learn all those lessons and stick to those lessons as well. It's not that, COVID's done, so I'm done with empathy, I'm just back to my old self. That's not the case. COVID's done, I still carry my empathy.
Yeah.
And that's being also brought into a lot of workplaces, saying that, people are more understanding of others' problems. I
Mhm.
think everybody has seen just not who they are working with. I think they're seeing them more as a person. They have seen the insides of their house. They have seen their pets, their children, even their hobbies or quirks at that sense. So they do understand, that it is very important that people do need to manage their personal life along with their professional life. And I think that is something that both at a professional front and a personal front also, I am practicing it, and I'm also helping others to see the importance of it more than anything. So that by doing so, you are actually able to create a better workforce in a way. You are able to create a more stronger or a well-connected workforce.
Yeah. Well, and it is stronger. It is going to be a stronger, more developed work place, especially since we're having, and I know that you and I are both millennials. So the next, the Gen Z population that's coming up, like they have been raised by millennials, and millennials have been raised by the boomers. And you could see each generation, I feel like it just keeps getting nicer, and just caring more about that emotional state rather than productivity, because that productivity and just worrying about the productivity in the business, obviously didn't really fare well for a lot of people, once a crisis hit. So I love that you love to solve problems. And I know that that's kind of why we're coaches, right? We like to solve the problems of the world. So some of your clients, what would you say that you'd solve some of the issues that you can solve for them with coaching, or with them, actually, not for them?
Yeah. So I think as a part of that entire partnership, uh, at least from what my capabilities are with my role that I've performed for so long, and with the coaching competencies as well, the focus always has been in terms of how we can help organizations perform better, how we can build the leaders of tomorrow,
Right.
um, how we can actually build the right value proposition for an organization. I think these are the key skills or the key value propositions that I bring to the table, so
Right.
that even when I work with participants, or even when I work with groups, I
Mhm.
think the ability to um, pose the right questions without uh, interfering with their thought processes, but actually making them reflect even further is what I look at. And also at an individual level, how they can be better managers, or better innovators. So this is what I look at, uh, in my at least in my skill set or in my arsenal, to focus more on helping them solve their issues.
Yeah. So when you're going through that process, do you, because we know coaching is about, self evaluation at the end of the day. It's about
Mhm.
how, you're feeling internally, and how, you show up for the world. So with that, do you talk to your clients about, hey, what's your vision statement? Like, what are you wanting not only to get out of our time together, but what do you want to get out from the world? What do you want? How do you want to show up in the whole, world? Do you talk about that? How do those conversations go, if you do?
So yes, we do, because at the end of it, uh, the I wouldn't say the expectation or the agreement that we build at the end of the day is about how we can turn out to be the best version of ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Most importantly, what we are doing, how does it matter to this world? We all are in search of some form of meaning or other to our life. So at least when it comes to the work sphere, you are able to produce tangible difference in that particular aspect. So we do have conversations. So in terms of when somebody walks up with a concern or a problem or a issue, the first question that at least I pose is, what is it that you want at the end of the day?
Yeah.
Are you looking to is this going to benefit you? Is this going to benefit the people around you? Is this going to
Right.
benefit the organization? Is this going to even benefit the community? Because at least in the past few organizations that I've worked with, I think that has been another learning for me, that in my initial phase of my career, it has always been about how is it going to benefit you or your team.
Yeah.
But then working with few organizations in the past also taught me to look beyond the organization and look at the community at large. So I think that is something that I also imagine, and that's a very important question that we I also tend to pose, saying that what you're doing, how is this going to benefit the entire community, or how is it going to benefit
Right.
the ecosystem? Because I'm not solving a problem just for you, I'm solving a problem because you are a representative of this organization. I'm not only solving a problem for you, I'm solving a problem for the organization. So with that, I think they actually start looking at the problem at hand from a different dimension.
Mhm.
They are not looking just for a quick fix. They actually start looking at a long-term plan, saying that I would rather just cure the disease than just focus on the symptom. So
Right.
that's how it goes about.
Yeah, yeah, and that's a great point. And I think that uh, you know, sometimes humans are just looked at with one dimension, and we're complex. Humans are really complex.
Yes.
And we're all different, right? So it's you and I are very different, but we're also a same in a lot of ways. which shows that, you know, it doesn't matter what culture you are, it doesn't matter what gender you are, you know, if you choose to show up a different way, then you will, and you'll open yourself up to new experiences, you know, and find unlikely friends as well in the process. So that's wonderful.
Absolutely. That's
So
that's very truly.
yeah, absolutely. So, you know, I got to show up as a cheerleader for you and everything. So let's do some celebrating, and I want to know what you enjoy most about your job.
You know, that's actually a very tough question. So I'm not, it's like, I have to pick up too many things.
Yeah, yeah.
The most important thing
Yeah.
is, the the very essence of, having a good conversation is something that I always enjoy with anybody, because in every conversation I get to learn something new. Also, looking for the doing the right things the right way. That is something I truly love about my job, and finding innovative ways or practices, that's going to, impact someone else's life. So as I have been as simple as that, we have been working on a project. There has been a lot of brainstorming, and to critically look at a problem. So that's what interests me the most.
Yeah. Yeah, finding, like, looking at the problem and being able to work with the client of, okay, this is your problem, but you know, you can find the solution. The solution is inside you. You know it. You know, you just have to do the work. If you do the work, coaching works pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what role, because you know that I love being authentic as much as possible. And I know you do as well. So what role would you say being authentic um has helped you, or what role has it played? I'm sorry. What role has being authentic played in your happiness, in your work, and sort of like just in your daily life and how you approach it?
So we all have been, every most of the places, while we preach authenticity, it's extremely difficult to practice.
Oh yeah.
Um, w- when I started practicing authenticity, right? So I was not able to accept the current version of mine in the initial phases.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, I was just having a portrayal of an individual who was maybe ideal, if I wouldn't say perfect, but maybe ideal in my mind, saying that this person would do XYZ things and so on and so forth. And when you actually check the reality of it, it is different. So
Yeah.
we, so in that sense, when you are when you start practicing authenticity, you would want to reject that
Oh yeah.
the real persona, and rather put your mind towards the say dreamed persona in that sense.
Right.
But then the more you start questioning on this, the more you realize that the only way you can achieve your dreamed version of yourself, or the ideal version of yourself, is only when you accept the current state of things. And then
Yeah.
when you accept it, you really tend to know what you need to do about it. Otherwise, it's just about, if I were to just put a small joke here, it's like, you look at a mirror, you'll always look, say, 10 or 20 kilos thin, but the reality is you need to do exercise. Without doing that, you'd never look so fit.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. You always, when you look at the mirror, you'll always think that, yeah, I am looking great, but
Yeah.
reality is far from it. The
Yeah.
weighing scale says otherwise. So you really need to work it out. Only then you can be the persona that you dream of.
Well, my scale lies, just to let you know. When I step on my scale, it just says it just lies. Like, it just tells me what I want, and that's it. I just, you know, I got that barrier. Nope, it's exactly where it should be. Not looking at it. So, what would you say in that, you know, line of just like having fun? Like, what do you do to just when you're having stressful days? How do you just, you know, get rid of that negativity or stress and just chill, be you, have fun, relax?
Yeah. So one of the things that I actually do is, just stay silent for some time, and, literally block of any thoughts. People call it mindfulness. It's a
Mhm.
different word, or meditate or anything, but it's like, I'm just in my cozy corner, just actually not even thinking anything. So I try to, train my mind in such a way that for the next, say, 30 to 45 minutes, I usually don't think anything. It's just a blank slate in my mind. So that actually, puts things to perspective at that moment. Otherwise, you as simple as that, you just want to spend time with your friends and family, just have some conversations which completely are say 180 degrees away from what your current problem is.
Right.
So these two things are, I still have my pet peeve, which is like sitting in front of the laptop and playing video games for 30 to 4 for at least an hour or so, so that my focus, it's like I get a tunnel vision on that, so I
Yeah.
tend to ignore the other problem. But it's not ignoring permanently, but then I'll say like I'll come back to it. But for this time, I'll be stressed out or I'll burn out myself. Let me rather look at something else.
Yeah. And I think the burnout part is real too. As humans, we forget to refuel and we forget to take care of ourselves. And when we do that, we don't realize that we're in a rabbit hole of a downward spiral. We don't realize that. So coaching is wonderful because they ask the hard questions. Like we ask the questions that you necessarily might not want to ask yourself. And it's very thought provoking as well. So having that time to, especially if you have a very insightful conversation and you're really thinking internally, you have to have that alone time. You have to have that alone time to just process it. I know for a while I was just playing like this little merge game on my iPhone, and I was just like, it was nothing. I was just going like this, literally just with my finger. Like, it was not a big deal, but it gave me time to just not worry about my work, not worry about my kids, not worry about anything except for just like merging my two little items. So,
I truly understand it, because that's something that, well, at least in my mental world, even I do that, because what the way I see burnout is not about, ability to take the time off, or just not to think of anything. It's just the ability not to stop thinking of the problem at hand.
yeah,
So that's when you actually face burnout.
yeah,
So the easiest way, it's easier said than done, but that's the only possible way, is just stop thinking about it for some time by thinking about something else, someone, someplace, whatever works.
yeah, yeah. It's the world is different. And if we can all somehow just unite and me, I'm the flowers and hearts and I love all the togetherness and the human connection. So if we can all come together and just realize at the end of the day, we're humans. That's it. We're humans. There's over 7 billion of us in the world. We're all different and we're all the same. So, if we can come together and support each other and have that empathy that we talked about earlier and really follow that servant leadership style that you follow as well, I really think that, magic would happen if we just go together.
Here's to hoping.
Yeah, here's to hope it. Exactly. So, what about 10 years? In 10 years, where do you think you're going to be? Like, what great things have you accomplished in 10 years? What impacts have you made?
So say in 10 years, at least, from from the one thing that I, truly would like to take pride in would be is that, the people whom I have coached have become great leaders, or at least good leaders who are able to, run sustainable organizations
Mhm.
and run learning organizations,
Yeah,
which are profitable, hopefully, and at the same time, they are empathetic towards their employees.
yeah,
So that's the thing. And at least 10 years from now, at least, even if I have to look at it from my own personal standpoint, at least I would be able to build a team for myself somewhere, who embody the best versions of themselves.
Yeah. Love it. Wow. That is wonderful. That is, I think that's a good place to leave off. Yeah, and here's the thing, I know without a doubt in my mind that you're going to be successful. Um, like I've seen mind shifts, with you, and I'm sure you've seen it with me as well. And coaching really does work. So if you viewers, if you are having a struggle, if you just need someone to talk to, sometimes it helps to talk to somebody that you don't know, someone of a different culture, someone, of just someone different than in someone that you're not necessarily exposed to.
True. That really helps.
Yeah.
It gives a different perspective, a different worldview, and
Mhm.
sometimes you will realize that uh, you tend to actually appreciate things that
Oh
you
yeah,
have and how best you can make of those.
I love it. Yes, absolutely. So we're gonna go ahead and end now. I love celebrating. So we're gonna celebrate you. We're gonna clap our hands. Yay, we're so excited. You're gonna do amazing things. Thank you. Thank you for being a guest. And I look forward to keeping up with you, seeing the wonderful things you do in the world.
Thank you so much, Dee, and thank you once again for having me here.
Yeah, no problem.